Am I happy? Eh. What's up, guys? It's that guy with a pencil here from that to humans who have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Well, fun fact, here we are to do a breakdown and review to chapter 228 of Four Knights of the or I said or. Why did I say or? Four Knights of the Apocalypse. Chapter 228. Perfect time. And I'll admit, this chapter was like fast. And to be fair, it's a lot of spreads, and notably there are very important things we do need to talk about in this chapter. So it'll probably be longer, but just the live reaction only came out to like 17 minutes. I was very bamboozled. I was going through the chapter, I was just like, huh? And then I was already at the end of it. So maybe this chapter's fast, maybe it's not. We have a lot to talk about though. First things first, hopping into it, I want to talk about this color cover page with this beautiful little family right here. I will admit, I am, especially let me put it like this. If this is the end, right? If this perfect time is the last time Mel and Elizabeth are going to be major players in the narrative, right? Before we presumably, like, this moment, and I've been thinking about it more on like a grand meta, not like, I guess, is metatextual the word there? Like, I guess in like a meta narrative sense, I've been looking at this more grandly, right? In the idea of this is the transition. As much as I would say the Sins have been strong in helping facilitate the narrative, they've been almost too solid a foundation, even with Lance already being too solid a foundation for like the actual titular cast. So obviously, this is to take the Sins off the table. If you think it's a permanent removal of the table, like they're all going to perish, if you think some of them are going to get sealed away, or this, that, and the third, regardless, this is the kind of point that we're at narratively. And if this is the case, if there's one disappointment I have with Four Knights, it is the fact that I feel like we really didn't get enough of this family. As a family. We got hints, we got whiffs, we got tastes, and I know sevendeadlysins' origin is supposedly going to give, like, more of at least, like, the Mel and Tristan dynamic. I think I'm not playing that game. But regardless, the one thing that I was really hoping for was a bit more lore on this family. If not lore, I mean, like, just general interactions. We got, like, maybe 5 throughout the entire series, and none of them are that long. Specifically, the interactions between Mel and Tristan obviously would have been more interesting to get further elaborated on, but fine. But especially in Four Knights, I feel like Elizabeth and Tristan have like little interaction at all. Tristan has reverence for his mother, but he knows nothing about her. Meliodas did he tell Tristan, like, I know Tristan knows of the Bloody Ellie, so I presume he has like at least some stories versus like the actual just sevendeadlysins narrative that was uploaded into his head. Like, I'm not sure how much he actually knows, but I just wish we got more interaction between this family, because presumably, I don't know, maybe Nakua feels extra generous if he's like sparing Elizabeth after this, but Elizabeth is presumably gonna, and Meliodas is presumably gonna at least get sealed away. If not, and I feel like we didn't really get enough interaction with Tristan. It just doesn't feel as it should. And don't get me wrong, that is kind of just an issue with all of our sequel series characters. Nasians didn't know their mother and father was their mother and father for a majority of the time that they were actually interacting on screen together. But notably, King and Diane knew that that was their daughter. So, like, at least I got a healthy taste of that, even if I would have liked more of it, but still, that's fine. Whatever, I'll take that. But I think of this family right here not really getting too many interactions, especially as like a whole family, right? Like, we have some little quick, I don't even remember Tristan like ever speaking to his mother in Four Knights, but we do have that like one half of a chapter and like the back end of one chapter of Tristan and Mel training for 2 seconds, and then, you know, we just never followed up on that. But I wish we got more. And same thing for Lance and Bond. I wish we got to actually see them train a little bit more. I know that whole training session wasn't necessarily for Lancelot's strength, and also wasn't really for, it was really more so there so we could get a flashback to the world beyond and get a full explanation of Lance's current situation as the host of the League of the Lake, right? That's the reason that arc happened. But I wish the Benwick arc was actually a Benwick arc, and not, you know, front end little interaction between Lance and Bond and his mother, Elaine, and then backstory, Jericho's weird, back end, Bond is cool with Jericho, and then that's it. I wish we could have gotten more interactions between Lance and Bond and his mother, especially considering presumably one of the biggest emotional plot points that's supposedly still coming up, even with Bond being still old by the end of this chapter, being, you know, Bond is going to die at Lance's hand. We've given the man 50 million death flags, presumably that's going to happen. But I feel like I didn't really get enough of Bond and Lance actually being together for me to feel the deepest emotion I possibly could about that. Same thing with Tristan losing his mother and father. Her neck is gargantuan. I just like it is almost three cursors, and notably, I will always make jokes about the size of my ears. I will never make jokes about the length of my neck, dog. Emily, that's probably a problem. I need more neck. But that aside, weird phrasing there. But regardless, I don't know. And obviously, I'm already mixed on Elizabeth as a whole. Mixed on Elizabeth. What's the phrasing I'm looking for here? I am already mixed as a whole on Elizabeth's character and how she's utilized. When I say mixed, I just don't like how she's utilized. There's a whole lot of talk, not a lot of walk with Elizabeth as a character. And obviously she's barely been a character in Four Knights, no duh. So I am also like fine. I feel bad that she is presumably either going to perish or be banished back to the celestial realm. I'm still not sure on that one. But overall, that's like my one main critique. But the color cover page itself is beautiful. I like it. I like that the whole idea of the past and the future is displayed really, really well here, with Meliodas, the past, is behind and supporting Elizabeth, being behind her, and also looking backwards, looking quote-unquote towards the past. I know mangas read from left to right, but like just in general, left to right, forward, backward symmetry, or like storytelling. Meanwhile, Tristan, the future, is on the front of Elizabeth, forward, going onwards. She is his foundation, and then Meliodas is still there to support. I like the duality that is shown. Not duality. I like the symbolism behind the locations of the three characters in the drawing. I like the color work behind it. Once again, we're in case of Nagaba doing a color page and me not actually hating the colors Nagaba picks here. Overall, good stuff. But let's actually hop into chapter 228, Perfect Time. So, we open up, we get to see Kath go, and just laugh, right? Because ultimately this insult. They JB sold the bag. And I will admit, there are some things, in fact, hold on, I even want to, this is beautiful. I was going to immediately record right after. I recorded the live reaction, but I actually waited a little bit to record the review so I could see some comments on 227 to see if there are any perspective points that I wanted to acknowledge and change up on. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Hold on. Elaine, no. Okay. Alright. Okay, to be fair, this time, I didn't wait that long, so I'm still recording really just sorry that made comments. But, would it be the case? I will say, the rage has not survived. I still think Meliodas made the stupidest choice ever trusting Kath. And I've gotten more and more okay with Bond just being the strongest there is, as much as it still doesn't feel right for me. But, would it be the case? Meliodas is laid out, literally in half, hand off. Still, like, especially knowing Mel, this is gonna sound so bad. This shouldn't be, like, I'm sorry, Galland, who I think now, I'm confident in saying Galland is, at most, one Meliodas fingernail of power, just based on how much stronger even a base Mel should be than the Galland, who had barely any magic, right? And was cut in half. This Mel, who had done very little, realistically, and taken minimal damage, laid out here like he couldn't just regenerate this when Galland could. Like, dog, it's still a case of the thing I've been talking about for these past couple chapters, weird in action. Bond, I will give a pass to. He's literally ancient and dying. I'm not gonna I'm gonna slander him for standing around and letting this happen to him, but that's a previous chapter thing. In terms of this chapter, I don't blame Bond for being incapable of doing anything. He's going, on it. Man, it all sucks. And Gother. This genuinely, I think this hurts. And no, because it's very unlikely. Like at this point, my mind immediately, like someone did a downward slash. It split my mind in half when I saw this panel right here. Oh, Gother just laid out underneath a random building. Not even directly attacked by Kath. Gother wasn't in last chapter because, like, Nagaba forgot about him. That's, ironically, that's how it feels like. Gother didn't even get attacked. Gother, taken down by debris. Same man who Snuck 3 gods, well, 2 gods, mind you. Why did the voice crack there? But like, the same man who snuck 2 separate gods. Same man who was decently physically powerful, you know? Same man with, like, telekinesis? Rubble. Not even being attacked by the super powerful chaos hybrid. No. Gowther got diffed by a building. And, like, I know. I need to not look at everything from a, like, pure power scaling perspective. But you know how dumb this seems, right? Especially, there is one I wanted to point out, and I need to respond to more of their comments. This is one point. I keep saying only ASMR. One of many ASMR. Did point out, Gowther's like the only sin to have like a concrete flatline buff. Obviously, Bond is just cracked. Mel is just cracked. You can argue they've gotten stronger, at least according to Mel's statement. King and Diane are literally exactly the same, but obviously just stat buff, seemingly enough. But, like, Gowther just has new abilities. Gowther is just more cracked. So to see them, the only buff sin laid out by Rubble. Laid out by Rox. Was 1v1ing Worldane. Chaos Worldane not 2 seconds ago. Div by Rox. But then we see... And the other split of my mind, right? Because you saw the negative split of my mind. Positive split, that's not really Gowther. But Gowther will go on to speak this chapter and talk about what happens. So, like, that's just Gowther. And he was just laid out here. Gowther doesn't get tired, mind you. Remember that. Gowther doesn't get fatigued, doesn't get tired. He's a puppet. He has puppet physiology. AKA barely his physiology at all. He's legit just laying here because he doesn't want to fight anymore. And that leads to what this chapter leads to. But then we see Diane, you know, huffing and puffing with multiple holes in her. In the same way... I think, funnily enough, I think I feel about Diane in the same way I feel about Elizabeth. But I think I'm softer on Diane, if only for the fact that she doesn't get the glaze Elizabeth does. Like, obviously she's meant to be the next, like, leader of an entire species, right? Like, she is the giant queen. But, like, Elizabeth got... so much slop, and she's also literally the other main character. Like, she's the female lead of Seven Deadly Sins. So Diane being done dirty, it is unfortunate she is one of the titular characters, but it'd be like that when it'd be like that. King the superseller. Oh King, you bring tears to my eyes, my friend, and they are not tears of joy. And funnily enough, I made the poll specifically talking about Mel. I don't know how that poll's gonna go, because at the time of recording it's not up yet. But I made a poll asking if Mel, like, made the right choice by not attacking Kath and worrying about the hostages and then trusting Kath's promise to let them go. I almost, like, and I may change it, who knows? I'm not sure, like, by the time I'm recording this versus the time it'll be out. Like, regardless, I'm not sure. Well, I'm assuming a lot of people are gonna say that Mel sold. Because, like, why would you trust Kath? And same thing, and like the same thing arguably goes for King and Diane. They were actually damaging Kath. They should have at least kept the pressure on. I know. Oh, but now seems that dog. Like, what did they think Kath was going to do? What did they think Kath was going to do? But of course, we see Kath laughing, chuckling, giggling, and going, "Victory is mine!" I will admit, this panel right here, like, this design is immaculate. The more and more I see it, as freaky and off-putting as it is, it works so well for Kath, and especially, like, Copium Kath, and you may be like, what's Copium Kath? Copium Kath is me and every other person still trying to have any sort of faith in Nakaba's writing consistency, assuming that the reason that Kath looks like this is because he's literally a tripart being, as in, he is Kath, the chaos cat, and the negative manifestations and inclinations of chaos. Chaos itself, which is represented by the, you know, freaky chaos arm and the chaos staff, and then Arthur, represented by the humanoid form and the cowlick, right? That's like, and obviously we know it's not literally Arthur, but like the infection that is Arthur, the infection that is chaos, is what's inside Kath and giving him this sort of weird physical form when he didn't have this before. But even if that isn't the case, even if Copium Kath is not playing to account, it is just a good design. It's one of my favorite balances of Nakaba's just standard character designs and also his monster designs, which Nakaba clearly loves to do, right? as much as I find Oro disgusting, Oro was a fantastic monster design. In fact, I almost want to go and look how the anime adapted that, just because, like, it was a lot. But overall, Nakaba do be cooking when it comes to the designs. Always has been, and this is another one of the cookage fests, and I love this panel right here. But, with it being the case, we see that Anne goes, "What am I supposed to tell Percival?" That's not Anne's voice. I can put a little bit more bass into it. "What am I supposed to tell Percival? Come on, Gnostians, open your eyes." Shout outs to Anne for being alive. Like, of all the oh, to be fair, Gnostians was more threatening. But, like, of all the characters to make it, though, shout outs to Anne. As we see Gnostians, our glorious, nonchalant queen, go, I am. And, like, obviously, she's not exactly intentionally being nonchalant here. But her just getting up and being like, "Yeah, Anne, sorry that you're having this whole, like, emotional crisis and freak out over me, but, like, I'm Gucci." I don't know, it's very funny to me. There's so nonchalant. I'm not a dreadhead, but they're so nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, I am. I'm fine. My eyes are open. And we see that Hauser is holding Gila, who I guess the creatures went to town. Where's her armor? But we see Hauser goes, "Stay with me," as he holds Gila. And they did have a dynamic in the original series. In fact, they had to, because, like, they were the only, like, major Holy Knights that actually stuck around with each other. And Gilthunder went down the whole Margaret plotline, Martin Ludishall plotline. And then Jericho was with Bon. And we're, like, in the Fairy King's Forest. So, they do have a dynamic. But, obviously, they're both being healed. And we see, naturally, how just like, "Huh? Wait, weren't we just... what's going on here?" And we see Kath twitch and go, "Huh?" And Gother finally decides to move. And you may be like, "Well, Pencilman, maybe the rubble just fell. That's still embarrassing. What were you doing? What were you doing? You saw how many openings?" Here's the thing. No matter what, the rubble thing is inexcusable for Gother. Because either root A, the rubble just hit him, and he was standing around as Kath was distracted by bullying Meliodas and all the other sins extensively, literally standing perfectly still as he did so, and didn't decide to even remotely attempt to mind hack or soul hack Kath. You're like, "Well, that may not work on Kath." It's worked on numerous gods before. I don't care if they were manifested by thoughts. He should have tried it. And then, either number two, it's been there for a while, and Gotha was just sitting there anyway. Because they get up just fine. They clatter up just fine. And, like, note how they are not surrounded by the healing thing because they can't get healed because they're a puppet. They could have done something. Anything. But now, as we see the Gother go, "What's this massive magic force?" Not you, Gother. Not you. As we see Bond suddenly get healed as well. Obviously not time reversed, but healed. And he goes, "Huh? I can move? Jeez. Man, I never knew how much I needed lungs." But, yeah, I do like... I'll get to it in a second. I'll get into it in a second about Bond's case in particular. And I think it actually would have been cool if a certain someone got a little bit of control over a little something else. But, with it being the case, we see even our... I say ours, really. My glorious Selling King, Harlequin, get fully healed up. Wings restored. Even, like, literally reattached, right? Because, yeah, his wings are literally torn off. So, full wings are fully healed up. His body's fully healed up. And King naturally goes, "What on..." Like, and I'll admit, it's really sad because that means, like, they just didn't remember Elizabeth was a thing. Like, did they not think Elizabeth was still around? They think Elizabeth just left. Like, she isn't, like, the like 8th honorary sin or something like that. Like, really? Like, did y'all seriously like? Why are y'all so shocked and bamboozled it? Well, everyone except Diane, of course. Diane knows her homegirl, and she goes, "There's no mistaking this." And we see King go, "Such a pure power, so full of love." And you know what else would be a pure power so full of love? You actually doing your job, King. You actually attacking the massive cat beast now that you're fully healed. Like, to be fair, they will go on to attack in a second or so. Well, actually not really. As we see Meliodas also get healed. You know Meliodas? Like, unironically, sometimes I say this stuff and I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, it's glaze or it's hype or it's like a title thing or something I do now." No, literally the strongest demon to ever exist. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Unless you think Lance transformed into a demon. Legit, the strongest demon to ever exist. With who should have some of the strongest demonic healing ever. No, he was just laid out and done until his wife showed up and decided to backpack him. And hey, I'm glad Elizabeth gets to do something, but they have to come at the cost of that. But regardless, we see a voice speak into Meliodas' head and go, "Don't lose this, Meliodas. Don't give up on the future." And we see Mel go, "Elizabeth!" Sorry, I can't hit the Bryce Patenbrook. But, yeah. Now Elizabeth has to step up. And I'll go into this in a second, but I want to lay down a groundwork for an idea that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. The only reason Elizabeth had to do what she did this chapter is because the Sins were uncharacteristically incompetent. Uncharacteristically incompetent. That's it. And no, hold on. In fact, I'm going to go back. Because there's one thing. Hold on. Wait. No, not that one. Not that one of Mini ASMR. There's one comment that one of Mini ASMR left that caught my eye. And it was, or just follow what was happening in part 1. Sure, Bond can fight Kath 1-on-1 forever, but he can only be in one place at one time. He doesn't have special magic. Let more and more pieces of land be taken, putting our knights on the clock as Bond takes on the criticism to be only contesting his Captain Kingdom, even though they're still around, as he's the only sin to get a concrete buff. He can't fight the 4 evils because Chaos Springs put him at a disadvantage. Let more and more land be taken as our knights try the best in Camelot, eventually till the kingdom is only piece left standing around a massive crater. We imagine how haunting that visual will be. Exactly. You could do it. You could make this whole thing work and make the Sins super competent and yet let Kath be super powerful and super competent by even. And to be fair, they're talking. One of many ASMR specifically talking about what I believe is like a macro thing, right? Like not even getting to this battle, but like have Kath simply expedite the taking of the land over and over again as a response, and then have certain Sins not be able to gank him because they're so focused on protecting their own areas or the entrances to their areas like King and Diane. That's one way to do it. Keep the tension and keep everyone separated and keep doing that. However, for this moment, the idea that they bring up there, I think that could work here. Oh, it could work here in this chapter. Or not even this chapter, in this fight, where Kath could decide to just spatial rip somebody. This is the same guy who could pop open dimensions in an instant with a fraction of his power, with the power he has now. So let him seal them into dimensions, have the Sins consistently having to break out. You can, the thing about this entire conflict, and why I said, this is Meliodas' fault, and it's Bond's fault, and it's King's fault, and it's Diane's fault, that Elizabeth is going to have to do what she has to do this chapter. You can still have this whole scenario happen. You just need to make Kath more competent and the Sins just as competent as they already always are. Have Kath BFR people. He can do it. Have him BFR the Sins. Have Meliodas be forced to literally either break out of like the false dimension or the false timeline he's put into, like Kath doing the glare thing, or literally have Kath throw him in a separate time space. Same thing with Bond. Have him consistently do it and have the Sins need to consistently break out and they keep getting staggered and they can't all gank Kath. There are ways you could make this battle work and make the Sins lose with what's been established about Chaos even before this battle. And it would make sense. But Dogwood just didn't do it. It's the sorriest route he could have gone down to make the Sins lose by sheer incompetence. And we see that Kath goes, "Oh, you were at death's door a minute ago. What kind of holy magic is this?" And I'll give Kath a pass because I don't think he ever interacts with Elizabeth. He genuinely doesn't know. And we see Elizabeth pull up, big flexing, flapping, all 4 wings out. Once again reminding us she's like the goddess, the strongest goddess. Yeah, because Supreme Being generally doesn't count as a goddess. She's like her own weird creature that made the goddess. Like, what's a good example? Like, we create robots. We are not robots. That's technically what the Supreme Deity did with the... Right? That's what the Supreme Deity did with the Goddess Clan. So Elizabeth, presumably the strongest goddess to ever live. I still, just because she's supposedly, and I say supposedly, but it happened. It's in lore. We have a panel of it. And to be fair, maybe it's even being referenced here, but considering, Ten Commandments Mel isn't in some of the upcoming panels, I don't think it was that instant. But Elizabeth does technically have scaling to Assault Mode Prime 10 Commandments Mel, which Mael does not. And there's literally no other goddess that could become. So we see full 4-wing goddess Elizabeth, big flexing and flapping her wings out. And we see Kath leap up and go, "Oh, gosh darn it." And we see Mel go, "Don't!" Now, I will give my fellow Four Knights readers a bone here. I also think it was kind of dumb that Mel couldn't react in time to a little rock falling on Elizabeth, and Merlin had to, like, blitz teleport her out of there in order to save her from the curse. I don't think that's dumb. But not only was that a weaker base Mel who was entirely off guard because he wasn't in an active battle scenario, Meliodas, why are you in base? Meliodas, why do you let this happen? Meliodas, why do you not interfere and engage? Where did the clones go? Where did the clones go? Even if you had to lower down to one clone, because Cat got a whole lot more powerful, they're absorbing all the cancer. Where did they go? Why are you fighting one-on-one anymore? Why are you staying in base and letting your wife, watching as your wife gets flayed? As we see, that Cat goes, don't you dare spoil the moment of my total victory. And Cat slashes Elizabeth. And we see Meliodas go, Elizabeth! As if he couldn't have done anything. Oh no. Oh no, if only Mel had transformed states that he could have been in from the start of this battle. Oh no, if only he had explicitly said he was going all out and then actually did go all out. Oh, the horror. Oh, the terror. Oh, the woman he sacrificed thousands upon thousands upon thousands. It's only 3. Arguably like 4. Thousands of years for, oh, gone in an instant because he just decided to be incompetent. But we see he heals up with not just Elizabeth's magic, but the darkness. Actually, sealing his flashback together. Took you long enough, Mel. Took you long. It's like a season 2, barely any magic gallon feed. But we see Kath does a slash, lands back, and is Bing chillin'. And once again, okay, this is where I'm like 50-50 on giving them a pass or not. They are staying. I can't give King a pass. King was already on one knee before this entire interaction occurs. Diane was immediately laid out and super pierced. But the fact that they immediately get blitzed here, why are we taking eyes off the enemy, bro? King, why are we taking eyes off the enemy? You literally just watched what he did to your wife, bro. But we see Diane say, how could you do that to him? He's evil! I don't know. Like, y'all play Deltarune? Y'all play Deltarune? There's very specifically, there is a theory. They slash them theory by, I believe, Double Dan, which is the spoilers for chapter 3 of Deltarune, but I haven't played it myself either. I just like talk about it and watch videos about it. But in chapter 3 of Deltarune, at the end of it, if you beat the knight, bada bing, bada boom, both Susie and Rousey get slashed at the end of the chapter. One of Double Dan's major points in they slash them theory is the idea that if you look at what Rousey does, they walk up to Susie, see she's down, look up, and like not like looking down or looking like to the right or looking to the left. No, like look up and then straight, like at like the dimension where Chris would be at, and then say, "How could you?" Which people who are against the SLSM theory, and like I'm mostly indifferent. I think it could be interesting narratively for Chris to like have to do certain things to his friends, or no, sorry, their friends. Sorry, that was true, genuine accidental misgendering. I apologize for that. I do think that it could be interesting for Chris to do things to their friends in order for the sake of the grand conspiracy that they are a part of. So I actually like the SLSM theory. I do agree, though, that it doesn't necessarily make sense considering in that very same chapter during the sword route, they are very, very hesitant to attack pixel versions of their friends. Like, the fact that they were flinching at that and that they could just, like, suddenly Giga Blitz, like, Susie and Rousey, and then Rousey wouldn't say anything about it. Like, it's a weird thing, but the whole idea of one of the major counter evidence to, like, what seems to be Rousey directly looking at them, looking at Chris, is people being like, well, Rousey's very heavily empathetic, right? They could still be referring to the knight there. Like, how could you just, like, in sheer shock, like, how could you blitz us? How could you do this? How could you be so cruel and evil and this, that, and the third? Because they just don't really fully understand the knight despite knowing the prophecy. Sure. Dog, it's Kath. It's Kath. What do you mean? How could you do that to her? Diane! He's evil! like, once again, I think maybe if the general writing surrounding this wasn't so, like, then I don't think I'd be freaking geeking so much. But, like, Diane, he's like literally the embodiment of evil. The king had a embodiment of evil. Why are you so shocked? And why are you just standing there? I know she's getting up. She's getting up with Gideon. But like, Diane, why? And we literally see King take his eyes off of Kath. No, both of these two. King at least could have done something to try and help. Just like Mel could have done something to try and help his wife. But no, they stand there. Diane, let me handle it. That's your wife. Your equal. How dare you disrespect her? She literally just slashed Kath. She did more damage to Kath in the last chapter than you did, King. I don't want to hear it. But of course, we see they immediately get slashed. Again. Literally, Kath blitzes them. Not even with like the full meaty claw arm that he uses to slash Elizabeth, mind you. No, just straight like nails. What seems to be like either nearly decapitates Diane or like slits her throat. Meanwhile, King literally just gets bisected. And we see that Kath says, "Such a pain you are. Now I have to pill you all over again." And that does seem to be the case, because they're all incompetent. But we see that Kath goes, "Huh?" As both King and Diane are fine. Oh? Attack him! And you may be like, well, Pencil Man, if all these things were happening to you at once, would you be able to attack on command? No. No. And be like, oh, so, well, if you don't think you could do it, what do you think? They are literally battle-hardened warriors that have been fighting. All the sins have, except for Escanor, ironically enough, all the sins have bare minimum, what? Literal decades, if not centuries of combat experience. So sure, you and me, regular people, probably wouldn't be able to instantly make on command and take advantage of openings like this. Even trained MMA fighters, people who, you know, train their body and mind and spirit every day to go maybe they wouldn't even be able to react and move in time appropriately. But the battle-hardened, multiple centuries of combat experience King of the Fairies and Giants are just standing around. Meliodas is currently just standing, like, once again, he doesn't do anything this entire chapter. I'm not joking. I know, like, he doesn't do anything. He's just standing around this entire chapter. And it's, like I said, I'm not sins of the father in it, but I am going to say it's a continued pattern of stupidity. And we see that, once again, King and Diane are so worried about how this is happening because of attacking Kath. As I go, huh, how? And King goes, I know Kath slashed both of us in that attack. But Emily, here in this instant, they lock in and go, Kating. And don't actually attack him, just, you know, aura walk towards him. Because, yes, this is the time to be aura walking, y'all. Absolutely the time to be aura walking. As we see Kath say, what kind of trick did you use? Can't you die like the peons you are? Don't flash those impertinent looks at me. Surely you must know pie now. I still don't like this. What happens when you puffy me? And we see that all the hostages sitting around are immediately accosted by the Chaos Beasts because, you know, the Sins need to aura walk towards Kath instead of directly attacking Kath. So Kath is able to get the command out. And regular Sins go, oh, help us! No, I don't want to die! And then one of the Chaos Beasts just slashes them all in half. And we see King and Diane stop attacking. Again. They don't even, like they don't do it. They don't do anything. In fact, I don't think anyone, I did a live reaction a little bit ago. I don't think anyone literally attacks Kath at all this chapter. I don't think Kath takes elixir damage this chapter. Multiple people are fully capable of harming or at least touching Kath right now. No one does it. And we see Kath hit a big old laugh and a big old grin as he goes, oh, look at all those poor people. So many innocent lives taken because you defied my... Huh? And all the people are fine. A little bit more naked, but they're fine. They're fine. Sun's out, guts out? I don't know. But we see the people are confused, the Chaos Beasts are confused, and even Kath is confused. They go, they're not dead? Why? Oh, what is the meaning of this? And we see Gother go, I've seen this exact thing happen before. Gother, why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you like, he's the fattest, he's like the second fattest target you've had. Legit. He's like the second fattest target you had since the Supreme Deity. You landed hits on 2 Demon Kings. Both of which were smaller than this. Gother, do something! But, of course not. Gother doing things? And this there? Never. But we see that Gother explains 3,000 years ago. But like, I don't even think this is accurate. But like, because by 3,000 years ago, Mel was already on the side of the goddesses. So like, And we know the event Gother will go into reference is much before that point. But regardless, we see 3,000 years ago, when the supreme deity deigned to enter the holy war, a single soldier from the goddess clan routed the enemy demon clan's 10 commandments. Which is crazy combo upscale for Elizabeth to 1v10. And I like, notably, that does make sense narratively. If you remember, I need to, you know what? It's been long enough. I need to lock into it. I don't care how hard it is to edit, dog. It's been so long since I've done a versus battle. I need to lock in. I literally have Lance versus Supreme Deity written, dog. I need to update it. That's like pre-time skip Lance. That's how long ago I wrote that fight. And I want to do pre-time skip Lance. I do not need modern Fourknights Lance. I don't need Fourknights Lance versus Supreme Deity. But that aside, I made a video a while back talking about Meliodas versus like Prime AM Leader of the Ten Commandments, Meliodas versus the Ten Commandments. And I said he watched them all too, so of course his equal will be able to do the same thing. And this, I will admit, this sequence of words and the wording does have me a little bit confuzzled, as Kath turns and sees the wings flare out from the top of the castle. As Gother says, the light she gave out fully healed everyone the moment they were wounded. It banished the pain before they could even feel it. Now, I will admit, it is weird what this is meant to be. I'm not sure if this is meant to be the Supreme... Like, I don't think this is meant to be the Supreme Deity did it. I think this is meant to be implied that Elizabeth did it. Because a single soldier from the Goddess Clan. And, like, obviously you could argue the Supreme Deity is from the Goddess... But, like, they made the Goddess Clan. I think Gother would note the difference. And Gother, of all characters especially. Speaking of cool things to see, I am actually glad we get to see Calmadios and I believe Zeno. These are two of the Ten Commandments, so I actually really like the designs of, but didn't actually get much, if any, screen time. I believe Zeno was part of the Arnok duo. When Meliodas first abandoned the Ten Commandments, he slaughtered them both. In fact, it is, funnily enough, another thing I need to continue because it's been so long. The what if I did a while ago of what if Elizabeth betrayed the Goddess Clan. The inciting incident of that what if is a change in the timeline where Elizabeth gives up herself to the Demon Clan rather than vice versa, where Meliodas gives himself up to the Goddess Clan. And what I assume is that moment. Like, I don't remember the full context for why he slaughtered Arnok and Zeno in that case. I think they were trying to stop him from leaving. But that aside, we see what is happening here and now. Elizabeth's omni-heal, essentially. Essentially, you ever played Hero Spelguter? Basically that. You ever been to Lunar Snow? That's basically what this is. Before the wounds get even registered, they are fully healed. At least see the Supreme Deity, and I assume, like, this has to be the Supreme Deity, right? Because of the wings and the blocked out face. I don't know, but we see the many different goddesses all being healed and perfectly fine as the Ten Commandments left on in confusion, and we see the form of Elizabeth as Gother says, "It was the ultimate healing magic. It ensured not a single drop of blood was shed." And, like, I do respect that. Like, I'm glad that Elizabeth's power back in the day was perfectly balanced, where, like, her extreme magical power went into healing and offense. As we see, Calmadios is bloodied, Zeno is burned up, and even Gother has taken at least scuff damage as they run away from Elizabeth. This isn't all the Ten Commandments, still run away. And we see Elizabeth achieve what appears to be her true magic for... I don't know, I went to the Reddit, there seems to be a hot debate whether or not this is, like, true magic Elizabeth, or if just original series Elizabeth was holding back a whole lot, but based on the end of the chapter, I think this is just meant to be true magic Elizabeth. And we see a very similar image to the flash forward from all that time ago of the quote-unquote 10 wings. And we know the 10 wings were the same thing, the divine power of the 10 wings was one of the main reasons the Supreme Deity was immune to, like, not everything, but, like, basically everything that was at all remotely close to her domain, and we see the wings fly out. And naturally, we see Cass go, "Ugh, it's burning hot." Burning. And we see all the people watching as they go, oh my word. And Diane and King and Bon all stand by and look and watch instead of attacking Cap and go, "Elizabeth?" And I'm not sure this is King or Bond, but I think it's funny if it's Bond. Bond's like, is it her? And the one thing I do want to note, let me point this out. Boom. This design is a Mac. I'm not gonna, just as I was glazing Cat's design earlier, I'm not gonna sit here and say this design's not fire. I think it is a cool way to show off the resemblance to her mama, right? Like this is legit just her mama. From the 10 separate wings to the big flowing dress to even the, like, I'm assuming, luckily enough, this is one of the rare cases where we actually get to see the Supreme Deity drawn in the manga style. At least I think this is the Supreme Deity. I've seen some debate on whether or not this is supposed to be Elizabeth, but I think she's a little bit too big here to be Elizabeth. This just seems to be the Supreme Deity. But, no, same 10 wings, same open, flowy dress style. Let me see. What else? What are the details? Even the things on her hands, right? Like the, I'm not sure if I'd call them gauntlets, but the wrist into forearm coverings, all these just scream Supreme Deity. And notably, you can see 2 wings spawning out of her head. Essentially, I assume that's just her version of the light thing the Supreme Deity does, right? I'm guessing. Where we don't actually get to see the Supreme Deity's face, except for a drawing Nakaba did well after, well, not well after, but I did believe during the press cycle or the release cycle of Cursed by Light. But true magic Elizabeth is what I'm going to call it. And it looks really, really cool. I'm not going to lie to you. So, with that being the case, Elizabeth has gone true magic. Now, if this is true magic, I saw a lot of people hard question, hey Elizabeth, if you had something like this in your back pocket the entire time, why'd you never pull it out? And I agree, kinda. If only, like, if we gotta remember, technically what Elizabeth is doing here is basically, it's a higher level version of what she did during the Holy War, where she was passively AoE healing literally everybody so no one died during the Second Holy War. She's doing that, but essentially on roids, I guess. That's what she's doing here. And I don't technically think that level of power was ever needed before, because whenever she was fighting alongside the actual Sins or the rest of the cast, they were all strong enough and taking injuries at a realistic enough rate that they weren't all just getting one-tapped and instantly dying. Meanwhile, with all the humans running around and even the Sins themselves now being paper thin, or not literally paper thin, but like being able to be so easily damaged, she does need to keep up the massive AoE healing that essentially heals wounds as they are given, because if not, multiple people just instantly perish. So, I give a pass to that. I saw some people question, why did she not use it against the Supreme Deity and the Demon King? That one should be obvious. Her powers just wouldn't work on the Supreme Deity, and they wouldn't work on the Demon King. Stat-wise, the Demon King completely eclipsed True Magic Mel. Or no, backwards. True Magic Mel completely eclipsed the Demon King, but in terms of like Prime, Assault Mode, No Commandment Mel, he just didn't have the sauce. He didn't have the gains to do all that. And ultimately, he didn't have the gains to do all that back then. Elizabeth, even if she had the True Magic form back then, likely wouldn't have been able to use it against the Supreme Deity and the Demon King, because they'd be completely immune to her magic, and that's the only thing Elizabeth has. But with her being posted up like this, with the wings popping out, we see that this is called Perfect Time. This is her essential true magic state. And like I said, I do like the design. But with it being the case, we see Melody just go, no, you fool. If you tap into that, you'll never come back again. And like, I've seen mixed debate on this, whether or not her never coming back again means that since she's awakened to Supreme Deity tier level power, she needs to like leave. Like just go to this Celestial Realm permanently and like essentially take over rule there. And or she's gonna die? Because like her human body can't handle... Her human body cannot handle... whatchamacallit? Right? Her human body can't handle this level of power. And thusly, she's pulling an Escanor, drawing out way more power than she actually should be able to in her human vessel, all for the sake of saving as many people as possible. And I want to partially lean towards the former, if only so we can actually get a Celestial Realm arc. I'm still holding that open, Kobe. I know you're like, oh, here he goes with this Celestial Realm arc. I'm sorry, like I mentioned all the way back in the beginning of this review, I really want more Tristan and Elizabeth interactions. I want Tristan to learn about the bloody Ellie, who I learned from the new Supreme Deity, Elizabeth. But that aside, it could also just be a death flag. As we see Elizabeth go, don't cry, Meliodas. Let me fight alongside you. For the sake of the world, for the sake of the world, and our band protected. And I do like that she says our band. She truly is the 8th honorary sin, if you will. But we see Meliodas go, or she says to Meliodas, allow me to put all my all into defending the future of our precious, precious Tristan and the other children. And we see everyone once again standing around ore farming. This is the time to ore farm. This is definitely the time to ore farm. As Meliodas finally locks in Twin. Finally pulls out a. It's been so long. Someone literally, I'm not sure if it was in my comment section, I saw it on Reddit. Someone literally joked, oh, the reason Mel hasn't used assault mode yet is because he sells his shirt. The second the shirt is gone, it's AM time. Not full AM though, like, why is his coattail so short? But regardless, finally, at least he went AM. And it is the remaining 5 sins charging into Cath. Gulther standing back and up in something. Meanwhile, Diane, Bond, even in old form, Meliodas and King all lunging. King, use something else other than increase, bro, please. But with it being the case, Cath lunges back in, and everyone declares for a big bad final battle. Everyone's screaming and locking in Twin. So, overall, how do I feel about the chapter? I'm very like 50-50 on it, I'd say. The stuff that I don't like, I really don't. I don't like the sins all standing around not doing nothing in the chapter. I don't like Mel only now pulling out a song. Honestly, even if it would make no sense, I'd prefer Mel just never pulled it out. Or was like, oh, I can't use someone anymore. But then it didn't make sense that he said he's rusty because he said he's stronger than his glory days. So like, it's like just real unfortunate. Mel just feels real dumb still. Diane and Gother, well, no, Gother just feels like a bum and dumb. Then, I just thought about something. Hold on. Nah. I was about to say, the one thing that came to mind now that I realized that Elizabeth is in her true magic form and has this level of power. Meliodas should at least have some comparable level of power. You think they could do a Twilight thing? You think Nakamura remembers that? Like the Annihilation thing where they combine light and darkness? Like, Cath didn't do that. As was pointed out by What a Many ASMR again. Cath did not combine light and darkness powers and create that like we saw at the end of part 1 with Tristan. But I do wonder if Mel and Elizabeth can do that. I do hope Elizabeth gets to do something other than just stand around an ore farm and heal everybody. But overall, like I mentioned, I just don't really feel the chapter in like a grand sense. I like Elizabeth's new form, her true magic form. I like the hypothetical cost that comes with it. And I do like his application, but everything around surrounding the chapter is kind of stupid. Like the characters are still dumb, all of them. So on a 50, like, just because I don't want to be giga overly negative, especially with the new form, Elizabeth finally getting some recognition, I'll pull just a tip out, and I'm immediately putting it back, man. Like, this is truly like a flat 5 out of 10 chapter, and it's being hard carried by the amazing artwork and character design, and Elizabeth's design especially. But overall, if you've been all the way here in this video, please do me a favor and leave the new supreme deity. Leave the new supreme deity in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. So leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that link to notifications so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, even have a page down below. You support me for as low as $1. Get a month, no month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the 16 to 17 minute live reaction to this very chapter, ad-free variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access not just all my videos over here, but also over on the second channel, that goes reaction, linked in the description down below, and also in the card in the upper right. And on top of that, I do have a link to my co-Fizzly in the description down below, where you drop 5 views for a short video, 20 views for a long video, or any views at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. Alright, lady, but thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Bura Ura, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Dino, Tim Thomas, Kaving, ORXN, Logan Guzman, Dead Mean, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, BNA DNA, Edwin Ingbinorba, Straw, Antavius Mitchell, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brendan Payne, Black Sage, Multi Batman Superman, Zalims, Joe B, Sleepin' John, The Young Family Pastel Pandora, Mo City King DKG, Andreen Bonnet, John Malcolm, Akolade Babatunde, ASD1234, Jesse Clapp, CCC, Romano Furin, Sky XT, Victor Jacobs, Axis XC, Osin Tabwit BDM, Kingly, at JDog2656, Union Eye, Marisol Boyd, Funny Dude, Athenzi Shear, Magic, Sino King, Sheesh King, Aswin Hedi Prasetya, and JMB KD. Then, let's give a thank you to our line art tier patrons, A+A, Dured Zoen, Corina Hernandez, Kevin Encarnacion, Lil Kodo, Midnight Lord 21, and Sean. Then, let's give a thank you to our ink tier member, Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06. Then, let's give a thank you to our digital art tier members, J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons, Walking Minnows, and Ernesto 430.